things I am sure I'm not going to talk about is to repeat what has been said so eloquently by these university people. I am like a mechanic. When I have students, I put them through a course, at the end of which I can say you're qualified to go into the market. In the event I am not satisfied with your performance, I'll say you're not qualified for the market. It's like having a car in the garage. At the end of the day, if you have not repaired it, the owner is not interested in whether it's the radiator or the carburetor or etc. He just wants his car in the market. Go into the market. I am very, very relieved when listening to the university people, the academics. I was more interested in hearing them say something like, the human factor will no longer count. And I am relieved that we are still in business. You can invent anything you want. We are still in business. And the things I suspected that the machine could not perform have actually been highlighted by them. For instance, Dr. Ngong says there are challenges, one of which is the issue of ambiguity. The earlier speaker, Manifi, spoke about the issue of idioms, metaphors, reflexes, even the syntax in some cases. So when I go by that, I say, oh, the human factor is still important. In fact, it is unavoidable. We must always ask ourselves, what is the goal? What is the ultimate purpose of translation? When I was a student, which was several decades ago, I do remember one of my lecturers telling me, if you produce a translation that a third party wouldn't know is a translation, then it is the best translation. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So if at the end of the day, the machine can assist you in producing a translation which will be a human-inspired translation, then you have achieved your goal. So I hesitate to view the machine as a threat, because the master of the machine is the human. The ultimate boss of the machine is the human. I am really relieved that with the suggestions made, like for instance, we should have a reworking of what has been described by Dr. Ngong of this curriculum in our schools. Like for instance, when I was a student, everything was written by hand. Translations were done by hand. And there was no computer. I mean, I'm talking of the early 70s. Then subsequently, when I became a professional, initially when I worked for the Cameroon government, everything was by hand. When we were in the old presidency under President Amadu Ahijo, we wrote our translations by hand. But that evolved. And now, when I left the presidency and ended up in the UN, we started using, nobody was writing anything. We used dictaphones, and occasionally we got to know about some software. In the United Nations, you would know that there's frequent use of what is referred to as Lotus. It's a software which is probably unique to the United Nations. But again, it enhanced performance, definitely. And it speeded up translations. At the end of the day, we achieved that goal, which is to produce work that is a translation, but unknown